Good evening. Gordon Brown has insisted that savers' money is safe after the collapse of Scotland's biggest building society, the Dunfermline. The government has put it up for sale after ruling out a taxpayer-funded bailout, but it might have to underwrite some of the bad debt. Scottish Secretary Jim Murphy blamed the building society's problems on what he described as reckless decisions by the previous management. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
It's not the biggest bank bailout, but still a significant blow to Scotland's financial sector and another banking headache for the government. The Dunfermline is Scotland's largest building society, but it's no longer a going concern. Last year, the Dunfermline made a £2 million profit. This year, losses of £26 million were forecast. A £100 million rescue package was considered, but rejected by the Treasury.
Well, Dunfermline is a very important organisation, and that's why we've taken time to look at every possible option. But having looked at the books and taken the expert advice from the financial authorities, the traditional bailout that we've seen in some of the banks just isn't possible.
Instead, the Treasury hopes to fall back on the tactics used to nationalise the Bradford and Bingley, break it up and sell off the profitable parts, leaving the taxpayer with the toxic debts. In Chile, the news from home was another blow to Gordon Brown at the end of his whistle-stop world tour. There was also a minor embarrassment when he arrived late for a photo call with South American leaders. But the Prime Minister insisted savers with the Dunfermline had nothing to fear.
It's important to recognise that throughout this whole crisis, that everyone who's been saving in a UK institution has been protected whenever there has been a difficulty in that institution. And I repeat that it is our determination in restructuring the banks to make sure that people's savings are even safer in the years to come.
The Dunfermline is one more famous institution brought to its knees by toxic assets. And as world leaders prepare to gather in London for the G20 summit, it's a timely reminder of the banking crisis at the heart of the global recession. Simon Harris, ITV News, the Treasury.
Well, the collapse of the Dunfermline caps a difficult week for Gordon Brown, who's been on a pre-G20 tour, struggling to get backing for a global plan to combat the economic crisis. Our political editor, Tom Bradby, was with him at his final destination in Chile.
Well, this certainly isn't the news Gordon Brown needed today. That is absolutely for certain, because whatever happens at the end of this process, we're going to end up with more debt on the government account. And that means that you and I and every other taxpayer will effectively now own yet another building society or bank. Relatively small sums compared to RBS, but still significant amounts of money. And I think at the end of a pretty bad week for Gordon Brown, it really we can reflect on a couple of things. One is that countries like here, Chile, for example, Brazil, other countries we visited this week, look at what's going on in places like Britain and are quite cross. They feel they manage their affairs well, and they think it's up to us now to sort this situation. They'll help, but how much help, I think, is questionable. And the second point, which flows on from it, is that as we've toured the world, it is very clear that our levels of borrowing are now a problem, with more and more people warning, look, we actually just don't have any more money. And I think going forward, certainly into next week and beyond, that's going to be a very significant issue.
Tom Bradby in Chile.